Knicks family, what's poppin'? Is your boy. I know a lot of you guys are watching the NFL draft, round 2 of the NFL draft. That's cool. That's all good. So if you can't join right now live, then you can join me when the draft is over. Well, I won't be here when the draft is over tonight, but you'll be able to jump on and check out the replay of this game, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the Knicks versus the Pacers, Game 3 of the 1999 Eastern Conference Finals. That was one of the most iconic games in Knicks history. The Knicks won a magical run to the NBA Finals. The last classic Knicks game that we watched them take out the Miami Heat on a last-second shot by Allan, which it kicked off this magical run to the NBA Finals, even though our boy Patrick Ewing went down. He went down with a partially torn Achilles. Wasn't able to play in this series versus the Indiana Pacers. Had a lot of people worried. What are the Knicks going to do without the captain? Well, ladies and gentlemen, we had some guys eager to step up. So let's go ahead and take a look at this game, ladies and gentlemen, and have a good time looking at it. All right, this is the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Let's go ahead and get this thing kicked into high gear.
So now the Knicks look to Latrell Sprewell for his speed and versatility. Marcus Camby for his fresh, young energy. And Allan Houston's pinpoint shooting to keep Ewing's dream of a ring alive. Reggie Miller has been unhappy with his performance thus far against the Knicks and has been unsuccessful from three-point range. But he's earned the reputation of a Knick killer here at the Garden. Can they stop his assault? The Pacers and Knicks are next.
This is the NBA on NBC. The 1999 NBA playoffs. Today, it's the Indiana Pacers versus the New York Knicks.
The lower Manhattan skyline and in Midtown famed Madison Square Garden, scene of Game 3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. Patrick Ewing arriving wearing the cast that will keep him on the sidelines, replaced by Chris Dudley, who brought his youngest fan, son Charles. With Ewing out, the Knicks rely more on their second unit, led by Latrell Sprewell and the high-flying Marcus Camby. Rick Smits knows pain. He's playing with a broken toe. And the Pacers hope without Ewing to guard, Smits can stay out of foul trouble. But the pressure falls, as always, on the slender shoulders of Reggie Miller, who has had so many brilliant moments in the Garden. And inside Madison Square Garden, the 293rd consecutive sellout. It's for Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Garden. You know, they say good things happen in threes, and that was the case for New York sports fans today. Number 1, the Subway Series, the Yankees and the Mets. Number 2, the Belmont Stakes, third leg in racing's Triple Crown for 3-year-olds. And now, Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals, and the three of us to bring it to you. Tom Hammond with Steve Snapper Jones and Bill Walton. Steve, with Patrick Ewing on the sidelines now with that partially torn Achilles tendon, the equation changes for the New York Knicks.
It does, but it's an equation that they have seen before, Tom, and that they have to find some low post scoring. And the guy that they're going to go to is Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson has become a rejuvenated offensive player for Jeff Van Gundy. His ability to score from all over the floor has really set the tone for the New York Knicks. And when Larry Johnson is scoring the basketball, good things happened for them. His numbers, he is a leading scorer in the series. And, you know, how dedicated is he? Well, this is a guy that's well-groomed, and he has sworn he's not getting a haircut or a shave until they win. And if we see this, the signature, then you know that he is having a huge afternoon.
That's disgusting.
Bill's favorite is the signature. Well, Patrick Ewing is out now, but you know the way Reggie Miller and Rick Smits have been playing, they might as well have been out.
Tom, to have a great playoff run like Indiana is trying to have your stars have to shine and play better and better throughout the playoffs. But that has not been the case for Rick Smits and Reggie Miller. Rick Smits, with that broken toe, unable to pivot or play with his back to the basket. The jumpers are just not there. Defensively, he's been nailed to the floor. He has just resulting in a flagrant fouler who has fouled out of both games. Been very, very disappointing. And for Rick Smits to have fewer total rebounds than Indiana point guard Mark Jackson, that is unacceptable. For Reggie Miller, it has been a similar disappearing act. Phenomenal in round one, but at this pace with the declining performance of Reggie Miller, if this goes on much longer, he may be below sea level. Now the Pacers have been telling us all week long that, hey, we're a better road team than we are home team, and they have not lost on the road this season. But talk is cheap at this point. It is time for the Indiana Pacers to stand tall, Tom.
Speaking of talk, is Larry Bird still talking to you?
Absolutely.
All right.
He is not happy with the way that the Pacers are performing, nor their sense of urgency.
All right, well, we're ready, as you can tell, for Game 3. It's the Pacers and the Knicks. The series tied at 1 win apiece. Game 3 coming up from Madison Square Garden.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. Tonight's Eastern Conference Finals game features the Indiana Pacers and your New York Knicks. The head coach of the Pacers, Larry Bird. Now for the Pacers starting lineup. At guard at 6'3" from St. John's, number 13, Mark Jackson. At guard at 6'7" from UCLA, number 31, Reggie Miller.
Folks, Mark Jackson, the great Mark Jackson.
At forward at 6'7" from St. John's, number 17, Chris Mullin. At forward at 6'11" from Clemson, number 32, Dale Davis. And at center at 7'4" from Marist, number 45, Rick Smits. The head coach for your New York Knicks.
For those who don't know, Marist is a New York school too. That's up in Poughkeepsie. I was actually recruited by Marist, but I didn't go there.
Taxi! Yo, 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 yo! Taxi! Yo, yo, I need a ride to the garden. I can't catch a cab. Come on, let's go. You gotta win. Nick!
TCU, number 40, Perkins. And at center at 6'11" from Yale, number 14,
And before the tip-off in Game 3, let's check in with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Well, they call Madison Square Garden the world's most famous arena. It's been the host of such numerous greats as Muhammad Ali, Frank Sinatra, Michael Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, amongst many others. But maybe none have had the impact on New York and its fans as has Reggie Miller. In fact, they call Reggie Miller the Knick Killer. Miller has averaged in his 12 playoff games here 26 points per game, and he's won numerous games on final shots and has dominated others. I spoke to Reggie before the game, and he told me that if his team, the Pacers, are to win, he must play much, much better. He has not scored a basket in the past 44 minutes of this series. In fact, Miller says, we are a much, much better road team, and I kind of like it here. Tom?
All right, Jim. Bill, did he leave anyone off that list of famous performers here at the Garden?
Where was Jerry Garcia, who has sold more tickets in this building than any other rock and roll performer? The tie-dye shirt has been retired at Madison Square Garden.
How many Grateful Dead concerts did you attend?
Over 600. Not enough, though.
Ready to go in Game 3. Jess Kersey, Terry Durham, and Steve Javie are the officials.
Again, the secret in this series has been tempo. When the New York Knicks have been able to strike and strike quickly, they've been able to control things. When the Indiana Pacers have been able to slow things down, they have had the edge. We'll see what prevails with no Patrick Ewing.
A big start, critical for Indiana. They're undefeated on the road. They need to come out and dominate early to take this raucous crowd out of it.
Chris Mullin is guarding Chris Dudley, so that's a switch defensively that we expected from Indiana. Larry Johnson misses. They'll have the bigger 6'11" Dale Davis guarding LJ, who's been so productive.
That's a very solid move, and they try to get Mullin going offensively. But Dale Davis can stand up big and tall over Larry Johnson to negate the huge contribution he's made.
Houston misses the shot off the screen. Smits had it knocked away, and New York has it back.
Now, both teams are jump shooting basketball teams, and the one that's going to be able to get inside is the one that's going to be the most effective. They come to Larry Johnson against Dale Davis.
Smits comes to double. Johnson is fouled.
That backup of LJ's has been the Knick style at its worst. When he comes in and takes 7 or 8 dribbles trying to get something going for himself. The Knicks are much better when they move that ball around. Larry Bird already concerned about foul trouble to Dale Davis.
So you mean if you get fouled on an attempt to score, it's no good?
Not if it takes everybody else out of the game. He's got all these guys standing around waiting for the ball.
Well, they waited too long because Larry didn't give it up, and now he's put in the 2 free throws up and got them both. So they net 2 points, the result of that possession. Advantage Steve. High post Smits.
The long game, Tom.
Reggie Miller, he's the one they need to get on track. Dale Davis rolls in Indiana's first basket.
Dale Davis and Antonio off the bench, not related, have been really the only Pacers playing any kind of basketball for Larry Bird.
Trying to come to Allan Houston against Reggie Miller, and he feels he's got to attack Reggie Miller. He has missed his first couple of opportunities.
0 for 2 is Allan, and Chris Mullin hauls down the rebound for Indiana, looking for their first lead. Miller off a screen. Houston right with him. Houston has really done an underappreciated defensive job on Reggie Miller. Smits over Dudley. Too hard. Johnson the rebound.
Pacers love to establish Rick Smits early, but the game is just not there at all for Rick.
Houston finally gets one down. Allan Houston's first bucket. And the Knicks lead by 2.
When you see Mark Jackson walking the ball up the floor, this is the pace of the game that the Indiana Pacers want. They have to execute at this end of the floor. They're trying to get Smits going. They get a foul against Chris Dudley.
This, of course, is the Knicks' fear. Dudley in foul trouble.
Allan Houston telling us his main weapon against Reggie Miller is to attack him on the defensive end.
Bro, it's the Eastern Conference Finals. And the Knicks are starting Yale center, former Yale center Chris Dudley. Crooked nose, could not hit a free throw to save his life. Chris freaking Dudley, ladies and gentlemen. But he was a bruiser, I'll give you that. Chris Dudley was definitely a bruiser. As you see, Houston missed that turnaround jump shot. Let me get it. I'm gonna let you get back to the game. I don't want to overwhelm you by getting on Chris Dudley, but geez, Chris Dudley, man. He was a bruiser, though. I'll give it to him.
That's the difference. You never learned when a ball was out of bounds.
Now they're
discussing that 3-point
yeah,
shot.
was it a 2 or 3? I thought it was a 3.
Mullin said it was a 3.
Chris is over here talking to Steve. And now they gave it to him, a 3. Yeah, I thought it was a 3 too when he let it go. So it is a 3, and it is an Indiana 1-point lead with the ball.
Shooters also know when they're shooting.
Yeah, he knew. He knew all of them.
So how would you know, Steve?
Smits gets tangled up, and Dudley comes up with a loose ball. Ward pushing it. Dudley just now getting down court.
Now, this group that the Knicks have out on the floor is not going to get many cheap opportunities. Dudley with a missed jump hook.
Charlie Ward with a hand check. And there's been a lot of discussion, of course, about the way the series has been called. Jeff Van Gundy complaining. He said whining now is the way to win in the NBA. He said Indiana did it successfully because in Game 2, the Knicks weren't allowed to stand their ground. And so the officiating has been much discussed the first 2 games. There's no call as Davis was bodied by Dudley. Thomas takes down the rebound.
Rick Smits has to finish at least a layup, please.
Mullin slaps it away for Indiana.
It's an ugly game from the beginning, ladies and gentlemen. This is an ugly game, real ugly game from the beginning.
Mullin wants it again.
He's wide open, and they decide not to give it to him. Johnson now has to defend Jackson out on the perimeter.
Mullin matched up against Charlie Ward, and an offensive foul called on Chris Mullin.
A lot of teams in the Eastern Conference, Tom, have been trying defensive strategies of switching off their point guard against Chris Mullin. But Chris Mullin has the ability to back guys down. A little flop there.
I thought it was a pretty good shoulder, though, from Mullin. I thought it was a pretty good call.
Well, we're well aware that the Tony Awards will be given out for the best and the brightest in theatrical achievement tomorrow night at the Gershwin Theater. Charlie Ward trying for a late entry in those.
Maybe he needs to consult with Reggie. LJ, the spin and the foul.
Larry Johnson, offensive foul. Larry Johnson got the hook as he made that quick spin, so he picks up his first personal. But you watch the elbow come out right there to wrap around, and Steve Jabby says no.
Why is Larry Johnson trying to back down Dale Davis? Take him out 15 feet, face him up, and get to the hoop. Draw some more fouls.
Smits. Charging foul. Wipe out the basket. Smits as Dudley took the foul. Charge, and Smits had a head of steam, and he wasn't going to stop for anything or anybody.
Well, the Indiana Pacers are trying to break that string where they stay out on the perimeter, and Smits is coming hard, and he is not going to be denied the opportunity, but Dudley steps in front of the line and gets the charge.
Not the prettiest of starts, almost halfway through the first quarter, and it's 5-4 Indiana.
New York's 1 of 6, Indiana 2 of 7 shooting.
Well, let's remember that Indiana has had droughts all season long, and in game 2 when they had an 18-point lead, they went 5 minutes 45 seconds without a field goal.
Chris Mullin commits his second foul.
He had the offensive foul earlier. That's his first defensive foul. The Knicks are going to take a timeout.
He's in shock.
What are they doing to me today? They didn't give me the 3, and now they call another foul. We'll be back. Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. We've had 7 fouls called in the first 4.5 minutes or so of play, and Jeff Van Gundy, the officiating has been very much on his mind. He has a new theory. Let's hear it.
No, whining wins in the NBA. No, that's the new success formula. Chicago had it perfected, and they always got the benefit in the next game. Indiana whined its way to 40 foul calls in game 2. We could guard Mark Jackson in the first game. Second game, the Knicks could not guard Mark Jackson. They would not allow it. We're not the physical team. Heck, we start 6-foot Charlie Ward, 6'6" slender Allan Houston. Larry Johnson's undersized. Kurt Thomas is undersized. And we have 2 physical players on our whole team, and they got these monsters coming in bigger, stronger than we are, and somehow we're the physical team.
I have a feeling Jeff would have preferred we play that for the officials.
But that's a very oblique way of whining.
My man Jeff was always fighting for his squad, man. It didn't matter if it was with the refs, with the NBA, if he was on the floor, nipping at people's ankles. Jeff Van Gundy was fighting for his squad. You got to give it up to him, man. But he's not lying. This Knicks team, the one that you see right now, was much less physical than some of the Knicks teams in the past.
He tapped it, but it went to the glass, and that's all.
So 17 to shoot. The Charlie Ward inbounds to Houston.
You need more than 17 seconds to get a shot off. You're having problems.
Houston stepped on the sideline, stepped out of bounds, and the Knicks will turn it over again. New York off to a ragged start, turning the ball over and only 1 of 9 shooting.
Now, they don't appear to know how to get a shot off, and that's been their concern. Sprewell is up and getting ready to come in the ballgame.
He knows how to get shots up, Steve.
Smits guarded by Thomas. Travel. Nope, they're going to call an offensive foul.
Well, you know, they've been trying to keep Smits in ball games as Sprewell comes in.
So Latrell Sprewell into the game for the Knicks, trying to jumpstart their offense. He replaces Kurt Thomas.
But with Rick Smits to the bench and Antonio Davis in, Larry Bird is perturbed beyond belief with the performance of Rick Smits. Absolutely nothing.
Houston, travel. The two teams have now combined for 8 turnovers and only 3 field goals.
You know, this is an example of what happens when teams are uncertain and not going to the people that know how to play offense. Allan Houston too quick on that move. Reggie Miller's first shot.
And finally, the drought broken for Reggie Miller, who gets a bucket after approaching 50 minutes without a field goal.
But what did Coach Wooden tell Coach Jeff Van Gundy yesterday? Quit having your players back in. Tell them to turn and face and play with quickness.
Bill Walton was talking to his college coach, the legendary John Wooden, on the telephone when Jeff Van Gundy, as Larry Johnson misses, Dudley puts it home. When Jeff Van Gundy came into our meeting room and immediately got on the phone with Coach Wooden and brightened up, Jeff Van Gundy, you could tell it was the highlight of his day to talk to Coach Wooden, the legendary Wizard of Westwood. Miller, having hit his last shot, throws up an air ball with good defense from Houston. Here's Sprewell. Popped out, Dudley. Missed it, tapped in by Johnson.
What a pass, Chris Dudley. He saw the defense coming at the last moment, put it to the far side, the old Andy Overdrill, Steve.
Mark Jackson for 3. Jackson with the three-pointer makes it a 2-point Indiana lead.
Only a 7-footer could see a pass like that.
The Knicks have done a phenomenal job of defending the three-point shot. A great weapon for the Pacers.
Now, this is where Sprewell struggles in the half court. If he can get you in an open court and he can come at you, either pull up and bring it all the way to the hoop, he's been terrific. When he's had to try to score in the half court, he has struggled.
Davis. Antonio Davis with a miss. Dudley doing a good job on the boards as his 4th rebound.
Dudley has outplayed Rick Smits and stayed out of foul trouble.
Charlie Ward misses the layup. Antonio Davis takes the carom, and Indiana has it up 2. Jackson got away from Ward. Takes it back. Right by him again. Mark Jackson blows by Charlie Ward to lay it in. You expect Jackson to take the smaller Ward down on the low post. That time he just went right around it.
Van Gundy realizes that Chris Childs, the backup point, is a much better defensive matchup against the strength of Mark Jackson.
Houston can't finish.
But Allan Houston, again, is a little bit too quick with everything. He needs to calm himself down. Turnover against Reggie Miller and the Indiana Pacers. Took his eye off for that one.
Chris Childs ready to come in for New York. He'll replace Charlie Ward.
The quickness of Mark Jackson freezing Charlie Ward, and Chris Dudley was out trying to deny the pick and roll, so no defensive rotation whatsoever. Where was Kurt Thomas?
Kurt Thomas was on the bench.
Yeah, he's over there on the bench sitting next to Jeff Van Gundy.
Obviously tough to make a block from there.
Sprewell nearly lost it after the screen from Johnson. Childs now at the point. Johnson has the open shot. Passed it up. Drives. And had his shot altered, nearly blocked.
Well, Larry Johnson
should have shot the jumper.
He's making tougher shots out of easy ones. You know, there was no sense in bringing it into that kind of defensive pressure with an idea of how to get the shot away.
But never double clutch when you have the quickness advantage. Just get up in the air while he's still down.
Illegal defense is the call, the first one against New York.
When you've got him on the perimeter, the pump fake, you freeze him there. You're to the lane, just explode. Go up and
ladies and
that
gentlemen,
over the top.
this game is what you call super ugly game by the Knicks and the Pacers, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks down 12-8 with 3 minutes left in the first quarter. 3 minutes in the first quarter left. The score is 12-8. It's the way that games were played back in the day, ladies and gentlemen, especially the Knicks and the Pacers. Especially the Knicks and the Pacers. All right, so we're going to move this along just a little bit. All right, we're going to get this to, sometime into the second quarter, enjoying the game in progress. And at the time that we're bringing it in, the Knicks are actually going to be up, ladies and gentlemen, 28-25. All right, the Knicks are up right now, 28-25. And let's get this back on the road. 6 minutes and 38 seconds left in the second quarter. And I know, I moved it along because it's a slow, grinded out game.
Sprewell misses from outside after Best had made a nice move to lay it in. The Pacers have not yet attempted a free throw. They have 11 field goals and 10 turnovers.
I guess Van Gundy was right. Whining does win.
I'm going to try it on you a time or two.
I thought you were.
Larry Johnson picks up the foul there. He does not agree with the call. Rick Smits is going to come in the ball game along with Reggie Miller, and that means Antonio Davis is going down, Derek McKee going down, and Allan Houston is in for Larry Johnson.
Steve, have you ever seen a more non-productive period in Derek McKee's career when he was healthy?
Well, we don't know if he's healthy. He's playing, but we don't know if he's 100% healthy. And certainly Larry Bird would like to see him give him something. So he's going to have to be more aggressive out there. And that's always been a complaint. You never know when the real Derek McKee is going to show up.
Reggie Miller missing the three-pointer right off the bench. Houston had the D on him. And here's Camby from Houston with the slam and one.
The Pacer defense absolutely breaking down. The hard pick early on Reggie Miller. That allows Allan Houston to come down the lane. Allan Houston had two guys, one on each side. Kurt Thomas on the left side, but he decides to go to Camby here.
Looked off the defense and found Camby. And since Marcus Camby entered the game late in the first quarter, New York has outscored Indiana 16-8.
And that has got more substitutions for Larry Bird. Dale Davis and Mark Jackson in, Travis Best, and Sam Perkins down. Knicks get it back.
Tom, the plus-minus for Marcus Camby, the plus-minus for Latrell Sprewell throughout this series has to be absolutely huge for New York.
Is this math that only people
math.
from UCLA know?
It's not about geography, Steve. It's about math today.
Especially if you had Lake Michigan in Indiana last week.
I checked out the map. Lake Michigan does come in contact with the state of Indiana.
Smits with a miss. He still can't get it going. Sprewell all the way. Latrell Sprewell catches the Indiana defense napping.
Well, that tells you that you can run. Everybody's been saying in this year's defense that you can't do it, but Sprewell just makes up his mind and beats everybody else down the floor. They lead in fast break points 6-0. Foul Sprewell.
Sprewell, we talked about that plus-minus. When he's been in the game, the Knicks have gone up 8. When he's been out in the opening moments, they've fallen behind by 1. But the quickness again that we've talked about throughout this series, shocking at the beginning. That's a great finish.
You see that defense that Dale Davis was playing? He was waving in air. He knew somebody was coming. He just didn't know where.
Here's the post up by Mark Jackson. The double count. Smits is the open man. And Rick Smits finally hits his shot. 1 of 4 to open the game.
You know, Smits' offense really works better for him when he can face the basket, get some confidence, and then go back in the low post. Pretty well.
Steve, he told us he can't pivot. That broken toe he has. The quickness again of Marcus Camby.
Who else? Marcus Camby. Man, has he been active in this series. He's just throwing his body all over the court.
Now the guy that's got to provide it right here, Jalen Rose, trying to go one-on-one, had it knocked away, but he's got to give them some scoring. You can see the energy and the excitement from Marcus Camby. He is just flying in all over the place. Nobody boxes him out, and when that happens, good things happen for Camby and the Knicks.
8 seconds on the shot clock for Indiana. Steve, we talked at the beginning about how quickness is a mental skill. It's about preparation and anticipation. That's what Marcus Camby is doing, separating himself from the crowd.
Camby with 7 points and 4 boards in 8 minutes off the bench. Smits. Thomas fouled him. Smits with a chance for a three-point play. Kurt Thomas lunged at him after the ball was gone and committed a foolish foul.
Well, he should slap himself in the head because, I mean, the man is wide open. He's going to be there late, and he's not going to have a chance. Just continues to come in. Smits gets his second hoop, and it's a chance for the three-point play. But see how far away he is. You got no chance to cover that ground when you can't fly in the air. Thomas out of the ball game.
Replaced by Chris Dudley as Indiana is about to attempt the first free throw after almost 20 minutes of play.
Smits a full 7-4 on the offensive end. You don't have a real chance to guard
Now
him
just imagine that, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks are playing tough defense, super tough defense. That's the first free throw for the Indiana Pacers. That's how you play defense.
Baseline drive. Bucket. Allan Houston put the
Houston,
move on
H2O.
Reggie Miller.
Nice defense. You're just going to let a guy drive to the hoop and make a layup?
Smits back to Jackson. There's the re-entry pass, and Dudley with a hand in the back commits the foul.
You know, Bill, you were a great shot blocker, but you never had to come out here and deal with anything like that. So Houston makes a nice quick move to the middle, and there's no hey red. Where was Rick Smith?
You're saying that we never had to contend with Dr. J coming to the hoop at us?
We don't want to have any flashbacks of Dr. J against you.
We won that series, Steve. And Dr. J will admittedly, or he'll regrettably admit that.
Rick Smits once again at the free throw line. Next Saturday, our coverage of the WNBA tips off with the highly anticipated national television pro debut of two-time Collegiate Player of the Year Shamiqua Holtzclaw and the Washington Mystics as they take on League MVP Cynthia Cooper and the world champion Houston Comets. The WNBA next Saturday.
If you don't know, Shamiqua Holtzclaw, she was a beast, man. She was a beast. If you ever watched her play, she could ball for real. We could use her on the Knicks now.
Points, and he's keeping the game close. That's all the Indiana Pacers need right now is just to stay in contact. Houston again.
Jump stop, left hand, short. Houston was able to wade in and get his own, and then Smits ties him up.
Smits has found a rhythm, finally.
He went the first 19 minutes without scoring, and now 7 points in the last 2 minutes. Good defensive play there.
Let me remind you, lads, that you can't score when you're on the bench. He got in early foul trouble, so he had to sit down.
But he doesn't practice, Steve, so how can he have any rhythm at the beginning of the game? He has to use the opening minutes to get ready.
Houston nearly outjumped the 7'4" Smits, but Indiana has it.
He's 7'4" on the offensive end, Tom.
New York has 10 offensive rebounds in this game to only 3 for the bigger Pacers. Jackson, entry pass, Smits is wide open. Dudley lost him, and Rick Smits makes him pay. He is in a rhythm, and he does have 9 points.
Smits does have a history of having some of his best road games right here in this building. Timeout, New York.
Knicks take a timeout, and their lead has been cut to 2. Rick Smits has scored Indiana's last 9 points, including this latest bucket. It's 36-34, the NBA on NBC. 2-point game, as you said, and Mario Elie, when he came to San Antonio, challenged the Spurs to shed that soft image, and I think they've been successful in doing that.
How about the job David Robinson did last night as we look at Smits tonight? A big rebound from Game 2 disaster. But David Robinson, 7 blocks. Every one of them led to a fast break. Just kept them all in play. Terrific poise and confidence by the Spurs. And if the Blazers could only learn how to play as a team instead of a bunch of scattered individuals, they'd be a lot better off.
My. The Trailblazers are trying to do something that nobody else has ever done, and that's come back from 3 down, but they got to start with a win. They played that team close. Can they get some belief and get one win and get themselves started? Because what the San Antonio Spurs have that they never had is resilience.
Allan Houston made a good move to get open, then missed the shot. It'll be Indiana's ball, and Rick Smits over the last 3 minutes has outscored New York by himself 9-4.
Reggie coming up out of that scuffle lame a little bit. Marcus Camby putting so much pressure on the offensive glass over the backs of the Pacers.
Now remember, in other games where Reggie has come up limping, and we've done this year, he's also come out deadly, and he starts going to work. Back to Smits.
And he gets the soft touch roll. Rick Smits, 11 points in the last 3 minutes plus.
Smits is doing a terrific job of initiating contact, bumping Dudley off balance. Dudley has had success in the past against Smits. Not in this stretch today.
Well, Smits has got the ball game tied up. Sprewell trying to break it. Finally gets a tough hoop over Jalen Rose.
Latrell Sprewell knocks it down, 38-36. Inside 2 minutes left in the half.
That's been the difference, though. When everything is bogging down for New York, Sprewell can bail them out.
Speaking of bailing, the Duncan Dutchman is bailing pretty hard right now. He has 13, a one-man New York wrecking crew at the moment.
He might have been at the Belmont because they are riding him pretty hard today.
What are you talking about?
Back to Sprewell, and they double up on him, but they're trying to get him back on the post. He's got to make a quick move against the clock. 7 on the clock.
Sprewell wanted to foul, didn't get the call. There is a loose ball foul on the rebound.
One of the concerns for Jeff Van Gundy is foul trouble. 3 now on Chris Dudley. Ewing, of course, out. There's 6 fouls that you can't use. Dudley has to play now, not so much as a fouler, but as a defender. Herb Williams, 41 years old. Look for him to play a big role at some point the rest of this series.
I just think about it. The rest of the Indiana Pacers in the quarter have scored 8 points, and it has been Rick Smits doing all of the business in this 4-10. And this tells you how important offense is. And when you get a guy going, and then you better stay with him. And I know that Larry Bird believes in, hey, if you're hot, we're staying with you. He's got 14 and counting with that free throw.
But remember, after Patrick Ewing played 40 minutes in game 1, Larry Bird said,
Herb Williams, baby.
40 minutes,
Herb Williams.
Play again for 2 years with the pain he's got in those feet. Rick playing with the broken big toe, left big toe.
And Dudley goes to the bench with those 3 fouls. And as you said, 41-year-old Herb Williams, 18th year in the NBA, the oldest player in the league, enters the lineup for New York with 1:16 left till halftime. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Tom, Rick Smits has scored all 15 of his points. He came back into the game with 6-11 here in the second quarter, so all in the last 5 minutes. Herb Williams, before the game, he's one of the captains. He went out with Mark Jackson. Mark said, hey, I'm not used to seeing you sweat before the game. And Herb said, I'm not used to playing, but I'm going to tonight. Tom?
And he's on the floor right now. Meanwhile, Marcus Camby with another one of those New York offensive rebounds. And the putback is good for his 9th point. It's 40-40 with 50 seconds left till halftime. Miller for 3. Reggie Miller notches the three-pointer. He has 8 in the game.
And the 2 guys that have to carry Indiana, Miller and Smits. Smits has already done his job. Now they're trying to wake up Reggie Miller. Sprewell trying to answer.
Latrell Sprewell couldn't hit it.
Foul on Herb Williams, but Spree is forcing shots. He's getting nothing in transition. It's tough to fast break against Indiana generally. Not in this series, but generally because their offense is so patient and disciplined. Reggie Miller hits that last 3. Allan Houston's got to know, defend the 3-point shot. Make Reggie put it on the floor, particularly to his left. Reggie getting battered around. But Allan is just too far off him right there.
Well, Reggie Miller is the guy that's going to end up at the free throw line and call a foul I thought the foul was against Herb Williams. I don't know how Reggie got to the line. It looked like Rick Smits ought to be the guy coming back, but Miller knocks down his first free throw.
Foul was on Herb Williams, but in the melee, apparently Reggie Miller was the man fouled and the best in the NBA at the line.
Well, Smits is on the bench now. Dale Davis, Sam Perkins, back in the ballgame.
What about Indiana, the excellent free throw shooting team, best in the league, missing 18 free throws in game 2, and Reggie even missed 3.
Well, the shooting percentages in this series have all been in favor of the Knicks, something you rarely associate with New York.
Camby with a slam from Childs.
It has been a terrific second quarter as Childs gets knocked down by Mark Jackson. No call.
If the Pacers are not going to deny penetration to Chris Childs, they're not going to win this series.
Final 10 seconds of the first half. Jackson posting up, backing Childs down. Whips it to an open Jalen Rose. Driving, shot good off the glass with 2:10 left. Jalen Rose with the bucket to end the half. Rick Smits off the Indiana bench, blazing hot, 15 points in the last 4 minutes, 55 seconds of the half. Don't be fooled by that New York towel. He's been big for the Indiana Pacers in this first half. Patrick Ewing sees his team go to the locker room.
And ladies and gentlemen, leave it to Rick Smits to kill us in the last 5 minutes as the Knicks are down 47-42. And yes, Rick Smits put it to us the last 5 minutes of that half. The Duncan Dutchman, man. Yeah, he was definitely something. He was definitely something, man. Big guy from Marist, had a little turnaround jump shot. He was a beast to deal with anytime the Knicks had to deal with him. The Indiana Pacers as a whole were a beast to deal with for the New York Knicks. You all know better than me. But up until this game, it was a bruising, ugly game. A pounded out type of game. And I guess what did you expect? And I got Big Freezy joining me in the chat. See what Big Freezy is talking about before we get back to the game. Big Freezy, do me a favor. You got to unmute yourself, man. Big Freezy, what's going on with you, bro? How you feeling? I know you remember this game.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, my wife was pregnant with the twins when this game was going on. Yeah, man.
I remember you telling us the story. I remember you telling us a story in the last stream.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we so in a weird way, every time a game came on, the missus was like having these kicks or whatever, and so it seemed like we was always at the maternity place, and so it was like coincidence or whatever, but and then plus, when you having twins or whatever, blah, blah, blah. Dudes don't want to hear about that. But so this game right here had so many back and forth things going on, man. We had so much stuff going against us, man, that the nurse kept coming to me like, Mr. Freezy, you're going to have to calm down. People trying to have babies in here. And I was like, yo, I promise you, I'm doing the best I can to be quiet. I promise. You know what I'm saying? But it's the Knicks, though, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, I feel you, man. I feel you.
Yeah.
47-42, man. And we're about to join this at the start of the third quarter. Freezy, I hope you stick around so we can talk about it a little bit afterwards. And hey, directly after this, I'm over at the front stoop. Sky Zoo has a new album out. It's mixed. It's a jazz album.
Right.
I think you're gonna like this one, Big Freezy. You're gonna like it.
Yo, Rock Mars got a joint that came out today too.
Does he? I didn't know that. Yeah,
yes,
so Guillermo's gonna be ready for that one. We're gonna have to do that one. We're gonna have to do a full review on that one. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know Rock Marciano had an album come out today.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but yeah, man. Stick around. I'm about to get back to this game. All right.
Word, no doubt.
Yes, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get back to this game at the beginning of the third quarter. All right, it's the New York Knicks versus the Indiana Pacers. And at this moment, the Knicks are down 47-42 at the half. Let's get with it.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden as we get ready for the second half. I'm Jim Gray. I spoke to Jeff Van Gundy. He was very unhappy with all the good shots that the Pacers got, shooting 54%. He said that is the reason that Latrell Sprewell really wasn't involved. He got no transition opportunities. They're going to try and get him involved with some more turnovers in the second half. As for Larry Bird, very unhappy with the turnovers, unhappy with the offensive rebounding. They were out-rebounded 11-3 on the offensive boards. And finally, spoke to Mark Jackson, and he said, as Marcus Camby comes in on a slam dunk, Mark Jackson said that they will not be looking specifically for Rick Smits here in the second half. They will only go to the guy who's open. Tom?
All right, Jim. Charlie Ward with a steal, and Camby, who starts the second half, gets the finish. It's Ward, Johnson, Thomas, Houston, and Camby for New York. Indiana has his familiar starting quintet in there, and here's Rick Smits. He got another one. He's still on fire. 17 for Rick Smits in the last 5 minutes.
If they don't come back to Rick Smits, something's really wrong over on that Pacer bench.
Is Mark Jackson thinking we're crazy? The hottest hand out on the floor belongs to Rick Smits.
They changed the plan.
Marcus Camby.
Camby up and under, 4 points to start the third quarter. Indiana has Jackson, Smits, Dale Davis, Chris Mullin, and Reggie Miller.
Tom, Marcus Camby's got 15 points in 14 minutes.
Charlie Ward should have given it up. They had a 3-on-2. It'll be Indiana's ball.
The problem was that Larry Johnson was out in front of the ball. And there's a 2-on-1, which is created by the defense of Larry Johnson. Then Larry gets out in front of the ball, and there's no angle for Charlie Ward to pass that ball.
What about Camby, the trailer there?
Yeah, I'll drop it behind your back, sure, but these quarterbacks, they don't know that.
Thinking back to that pass at the end of game 2, only a quarterback could have made that one. It was brilliant.
That was a great pass. But these quarterbacks, they can't see behind them like basketball players can.
Jackson backing Ward down. Ward trying to stay in front of him. Jackson's little jump hook right under the rim. Couldn't hit it. Got his own rebound, and then Ward swiped it.
Terrific hands, Kurt Thomas.
Houston to Thomas. Missed the layup. Thomas again, blocked by Smits. Thomas a third time, lost it. Here's Jackson. He's got 3-on-2.
Was that Kurt Thomas or Charles Smith? Who could forget the Charles Smith self-check that kept the Knicks from beating the Chicago Bulls?
Now there's another foul against Kurt Thomas, and Jeff Van Gundy is saying, guys, we got to continue to get back defensively. Make sure you got some sort of pressure against Rick Smits, who is sizzling right now.
Kurt Thomas has 3 fouls, but Indiana has turned it over 3 times in their 5 possessions to start the third quarter. Davis, another turnover.
The quick hands.
Camby knocked it away. Allan Houston stumbled and still scored.
Now the defense of the New York Knicks has forced some breaking opportunities, and Allan Houston gets his first. So Van Gundy obviously lost his voice in that locker room, telling these guys they have to do a better job defensively.
Mark Jackson rattles it home. Jackson with a nice move to the hoop, and Indiana up again by 3.
There doesn't seem to be a game plan defensively for either squad as to how they're going to handle the pick and rolls.
Now here's the play. Marcus Camby against Chris Mullin, and he can get a shot anytime he wants. Again, he actually get a lot closer than that. He scored one earlier just by breaking down and making a quick move and got within 2 feet.
Camby getting the second half start in place of Chris Dudley. Got the shot, but couldn't hit it. And here's Mark Jackson, 2 in a row for Jackson. He's taken Charlie Ward right to the rim. And a 20-second timeout by the Knicks.
Van Gundy is just incredibly irate with Charlie Ward as to how he's defending that pick and roll.
Well, they're turning him into the middle, but watch where Kurt Thomas is. He just watches him come into the lane and then's going to try to make a play right at the rim. It's too late. He needs to be up and making Mark Jackson turn the other way. Once you let a player get that deep, bad things happen, and Jackson has scored back-to-back hoops.
Remember, we talked about that game 2 pass from the former Heisman winner, Charlie Ward. New York trailed by 2. 2 seconds left, no timeouts. Ward looked like the quarterback again as he connected to Patrick Ewing, who got off the jump shot but couldn't hit it. And the Pacers held on for that 2-point win to even the series.
Always tough when that last one doesn't go down, as Reggie Miller so aptly reminded Patrick Ewing in the post-game press conference of Game 2 in a very poignant moment.
That was nice. Charlie Ward looking inside. It's one of those UCLA moves.
Well, that's because UCLA usually wins.
Now they have Larry Johnson trying to get him started, but he's holding the ball, 8 on the shot clock.
Shot was there the whole time. He finally took it and buried it. 13 for LJ. New York back within 3. Miller threw it too high, but a push.
Terrific call. The ball was thrown up in the air for Dale Davis on the right side screen and roll. The hold in the low back kept him from elevating.
Kurt Thomas goes out of the game with 4 fouls, replaced by Chris Dudley. Let's go to Jim Gray.
Spoke to Reggie Miller, Tom, at halftime. He did get a Charlie horse on his left thigh. Limping a little bit, says it should not affect this play. Tom?
All right, Jim, here's Rick Smits. Steps. Smits travels, collides with Charlie Ward and knocks him 5 feet, threw the ball at him and got the tee.
But if you see Steve Javie out on the floor, if you see a disgusted Larry Bird, you know there's one thing that will happen in any situation like this. Ward is going to go down. Now watch Rick Smits look and then flip the ball in his direction, and Javie just takes it out, gives him a tee.
That was a bad call on the traveling violation. That was excellent, if not perfect, footwork by Rick Smits.
Then he should have thrown the ball at the referee and not at Charlie.
Well, that's not a good idea.
I see. 5 turnovers in the quarter for Indiana. There's the call, and there's the toss of the ball that got him the tee.
Remember the Tony Awards tomorrow night at the Gershwin Theater.
They're going to get a foul right here at this end for the New York Knicks. I think it's going to be against Dale Davis on the push against Larry Johnson.
Second foul on Dale.
Larry Bird is a man of few words, but of many expressions, and you can see Dale Davis just crashing into the screen of Allan Houston. And he shakes his head in disgust. Houston
got the shot, couldn't hit it. Dudley out-muscles Smits for the rebound.
You know, we've talked about Sprewell and Houston, but both of them are getting shots. They're just not making them. Camby.
Nice move. Marcus Camby. Jump stop. Right to the hoop with a jump hook. 17 for Marcus.
Second player chosen in the draft by Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah knew something for a while there that nobody else seemed to know.
He's hit 8 of 10 as Allan Houston collides with Reggie Miller, and Houston will be assessed his first foul.
When Marcus Camby develops this into a consistent shot instead of just the luck of the bounce, then he can become an unbelievable player in this league.
Crowd chanting Reggie sucks, and that usually wakes him up. You got bodies colliding all over the place. Larry Johnson and the Knicks fans are not going to be happy with this call.
Smits finally missed a shot, but LJ with his 3rd foul.
And you'll see this ball go up, and you know something about goaltending. Let's see. Is Chris Dudley in the net?
Yes, he's in the net.
Inconsequential. Nothing but net for Camby.
Nothing but net for Reggie Miller. Miller knocks down his 12th point of the game, and the Pacers lead by 2.
What were they chanting about Reggie? See if I missed that.
Reggie sucks. They should leave that guy alone. They don't know well enough by now that that's the kind of talk that gets him fired up.
Oh, here comes the lick.
LJ licked his fingers first. Dale Davis is in trouble. Hand check foul on Davis.
When you go to the lick,
Man,
it's all over.
LJ, do that thing.
All right, 6:59 left in the 3rd. We're going to moisten our fingers, and we'll be back with the Pacers leading by 2.
And ladies and gentlemen, the Indiana Pacers were up by 2. And it's a battle, ladies and gentlemen. It is a battle. You know, guys are fighting. You know, both teams are fighting. And even though you still got a couple of, you know, what do you want to say? games left to this series. They're fighting like it's the last, the last thing, the last train smoking out of town. We're going to move this thing forward just a little bit. And I'm going to take it down to the end of the third quarter. Then we'll move into the fourth quarter, ladies and gentlemen. And as I move you, the Knicks are going to be up. They're going to come back. They're going to be up 65-64 at this point over the Indiana Pacers. But rest on your laurels. Don't feel like they got it in hand at this point, because of course it is a battle between these two always. Always. As my man Big Freezy knows all well enough. So now I'm just waiting for this. I'm trying to waste a little bit of time. For whatever reason, this thing is taking a while to queue up. But as soon as it's queued up, which it just queued up, we're going to get this thing popping, ladies and gentlemen. So the Knicks are up 65-64. Let's join the game in progress. Join it in progress right now.
They just idolize.
2 minutes and 30 seconds left in the third quarter.
2:25 left, third quarter.
Well, 2:25 now.
Mullin to the hoop, missed the layup.
Chris Mullin.
Then took it away from Kurt Thomas.
Step back and shoot a three here. If the layups aren't going, the three has to be there.
I love your logic.
McKee had a mismatch with Childs and was fouled by Chris.
When was the last time you had to step back and shoot a three?
Well, I tried to make my layups first of all, so I would never have to resort to that dynamic three-point shot that I possessed.
Mullin out of the ball game. Jalen Rose comes in. McKee going to the free throw line. Had a good mismatch, went right to it. Childs picked up the personal.
Derek McKee, who missed 37 games with right knee soreness, tendonitis. And the game tied at 65 with 2 minutes left in the third quarter. Childs all the way, got it.
In the first half, we talked about the Pacers would not win if they did not deny penetration to Chris Childs. 2 times in the last 3 possessions, he's come down and just given the easy scoring opportunities to his team.
Well, they beat the defense before it could get set up. Miller on a catch and shoot.
Short on the three-point attempt. Camby has his 7th board. Childs a quick three. Rebounded by Antonio Davis.
Terrific box out by Derek McKee, keeping Camby, who was on the run.
What about the quick shot by Childs?
Now, Childs had that happy feeling. He felt it. He thought it was going to go, and a chance to really build some momentum. And
didn't make Van Gundy feel very happy.
3-second violation. Mark Jackson never got out, but Van Gundy, he knows that Chris Childs is much better as a defensive player against the big post-up guards. Charlie Ward is better defending the guys like Stephon Marbury and Tim Hardaway, the fast up and down, really wide open players. But that's not Mark Jackson's game, and that's why Chris Childs gets so much more time against the Pacers.
Reggie Miller gets a rest. Sam Perkins is in, and Travis Best replaces Mark Jackson at the point for Indiana, who now turned the ball over 17 times. Childs trapped in the corner and fouled.
That's a bailout call there. He had nowhere to go. He was stumbling.
Travis Best, number 1.
Larry Bird's facial expressions are hilarious. The smirks, the little glance of an eye. Just the way he played.
Sprewell gets by Rose. And he lost the ball on the way up, and he's bailed out by an Indiana foul.
Steve, Latrell Sprewell going to the basket. He prefers finishing left.
Well,
I don't think the Pacers have picked up on that.
I think in this case it was just get it and get it up in the air, but Sprewell was trying to turn that corner, and he comes with such speed and quickness that if you don't get to him right away, he's right at the basket, gets his first free throw.
Don't forget, early tomorrow, croissant and cafe from the French Open in Paris Agassi and Medvedev for the men's championship. The French Open tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, 6 in the morning on the Pacific Coast.
Steve, how's your tennis game?
Well, we've been so busy I haven't been able to play, but, you know, one day I'll get a taste of that terror bat, too.
McKee draws the double team, whips it to Rose. Ball movement to Best. And a holding foul called on New York.
The closeout defense again. The quickness of New York denying that three-point opportunity. The Pacers normally expert at moving that ball.
Well, we'll take a look at it. You'll see Sprewell is going to be the guy to come over and gamble, and that's going to start the ball movement for the Indiana Pacers. And then Kurt Thomas just reaches around. He must have been a lineman or something, because, you know, slaps himself in the head all the time after every foul that he makes. Is there anything up there?
Well, it's the 5th foul for Kurt, and he'll leave as the venerable Herb Williams returns to the court.
Herb with a couple of stints to use up some time at the end of the first half, at the end of the third quarter here. But this New York defense, very reminiscent of Chicago when they were at their peak, and then the Seattle Sonics when they were a good team, when they could double team anywhere on the court and still recover and close out on the three-point shooters.
Indiana has only 1 field goal the last 6.5 minutes, but they have hit 9 of 12 free throws in that time. Sprewell launches. Rebounded by Camby. As he fell down, he missed the shot.
Bring that one out and reset.
Well, he had no chance to get any balance. He thought nobody was there. He'd get a shot. Travis Best.
Camby rejects it.
Marcus Camby is everywhere. He's on the offensive glass. He's blocking shots. He's running the lane. And Toronto traded him.
You'll see him come down the lane and slap that one away. And the Indiana Pacers have 15 on the shot clock, 20.4 on the game. So there's about a 5.5 second differential.
Camby just like a frisky young colt. As you said, he's everywhere. Ought to be young.
19 points, 8 rebounds, 1 block. Marcus Camby.
Best misses the shot. Got it back and leaves it for McKee, who hits with 5 seconds left. Good play by Travis Best, and McKee buried the shot. Here's Houston. Quarter about to end. He can't score, and the third comes to a close. And we begin it the way we ended the half. LJ, 15 points. Marcus Camby with 19 points. And the third quarter comes to a close with a tie game in the books. Indiana,
and ladies and gentlemen, like you heard, the third quarter comes to a close. It's a tied game. A tied game, a battle, right? Nerves are jumping at this point. You know, big shout out. Listen, Marcus Camby, at this point, Marcus Camby really kind of, if you remember the last show, the last stream, the last Classic Knicks that I did, I talked about how, you know, at first I wasn't sure about Marcus Camby, right? Because he wasn't your traditional post-up type of center. You know, he wasn't that kind of guy. He was, you know, he was a new age center, something that we hadn't really seen before in the NBA. You know, so I was a little shaky about the kid. This game, though, solidified what he did for me. You know what I mean? And made me feel like, okay, I like what Marcus Camby brings to the table. You know what I'm saying? Of course, I was used to the Rick Smits and let me say Patrick Ewing first. The Patrick Ewings and David Robinsons and those type of centers. That's what I was used to, and that's what I wanted to see. But Marcus Camby brought something different. We're going to come back with the game in progress, ladies and gentlemen. All right? We're just about halfway through the fourth quarter. And we're going to let this thing ride out. And for those who do join me on the front stoop, as soon as I'm done here, I'll be on the front stoop and we'll be reviewing that Sky Zoo album. So make sure you come check me out. Let me get you back to the game, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, Charlie Ward is on the line, and you can see he's getting ready to go ball.
For San Antonio. Every time they get the ball, they're just looking to shoot. There is no indecision, no hesitation.
That's Charlie Ward.
And it's paid off today as Smits
misses the free throw.
Well, without
misses the free throw. You see what Rick Smits has done. Patrick Ewing on the bench. Painful sight to see. 5 minutes and 33 seconds left here in the fourth quarter. And we're going to let it ride out from here, ladies and gentlemen. That's Chris Childs. Misses the second free throw on Rick Smits.
Childs, who hit 81% from the free throw line during the regular season.
Grabbed the rebound, but there was a lane violation on Chris Childs.
New York is only 1 of 5 at the free
So
throw
here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The Knicks down by 8 points.
That may be what he says.
To the Pacers. Let's get it.
Indiana on a 14-2 run.
You know, Van Gundy's going to say in order for his team to win, they've got to defend, they've got to have stops, and it's got to start now. They blocked the ball on Rick Smits, 3 on the shot clock.
Childs coming to help, knocked it out of bounds.
The Pacers are often their own worst enemy in situations like this. Smits loses the ball. How's that not a foul?
Like he got him on the back of the head. Reggie Miller, Camby made him alter the shot.
It's got to be somebody in the set because Indiana's tightened up their defensive transition game.
They're coming back to Sprewell. The matchup against Jackson. Can he get a score? He squeezes one off.
Ducked under, the helping Rick Smits to score his 12th point. Lead cut to 6.
Plenty of time for the New York Knicks. What they're trying to do right now is quicken up the pace of the game by doubling on the ball, making them use some time. 12 on the clock for Smits.
Smits got the roll. Soft touch, Rick Smits. He has 23 points.
This is the Rick Smits that Larry Bird has been praying for, literally begging for to should come and play. It's been so difficult, impossible for Rick to play through the pain, though.
They come back to Allan Houston against the defense of McKee. 8 on the clock for Johnson.
Hesitation by LJ.
Childs steps up and delivers the 2. Good ball movement. 6 points now for Childs. Jackson in some trouble, got rid of it to Smits and takes it back. Childs all over him.
Somebody's got to come and help Mark here. Don't stand and wait.
McKee nearly lost it. 3 to shoot. 1 to shoot. McKee got it away. Couldn't hit. Rebounded by Larry Johnson. Childs calling for it. Has it.
Sprewell again here.
Not Sprewell against McKee. And when they get him in a mismatch and they're trying to screen and get Jackson to switch, it works. Childs goes on his own.
Missed it. Camby blasted through Smits to commit the loose ball foul. 4 on Camby.
A walk into the other end of the floor. That means Rick Smits is going to be the guy to shoot the free throws with 3:21 to go. Van Gundy not panicking yet, but certainly concerned with his offensive possessions. He's only gotten 11 points so far, 12 points in the quarter.
Look what Smits has done tonight compared to the first 2 games of the series, and he's 7 for 7 at the free throw line.
Well, he fouled out of those first 2 games, and without Ewing, there's no opportunities for the Knicks to draw fouls with Smits.
Tonight on NBC, after the NBA playoffs, stick around for the world's most amazing videos, followed by Profiler. That's World's Most Amazing Videos and Profiler tonight, following the NBA on NBC.
If you move the ball and move it away from Smits, he'll come to somebody coming down the lane. The Knicks have not done enough of that. They have a couple of plays where Marcus Camby is off the ball. He does a great job of bringing it to the rim. That's how they can get the foul trouble against Rick Smits.
Smits has scored the Pacers' last 6 points in a minute. Scored 15 straight in 5 minutes in the second quarter.
Van Gundy telling us before the game about Smits. He said the best defense against Rick Smits is for him to get in foul trouble, but no opportunity for that. Somebody should drive the ball right at Rick, try to get him out of the game with fouls.
Childs for 3. Big bucket. Knicks needed that one in the worst way, and it makes it a 5-point game, just over 3 minutes left.
Derek McKee is the key man here. He has to come up and help break the press. Larry Bird wants a timeout.
Indiana takes time. The clock shows 3 minutes and 2 seconds, and the Pacers are leading the Knicks in Game 3, 89-84. The NBA on NBC.
ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks are battling back. 3 minutes and 2 seconds left in the fourth quarter. It's 89-84. The Knicks are battling to prove that they are the superior team over the Indiana Pacers in this Eastern Conference Finals battle. A warrior's battle right here, ladies and gentlemen. You see Rick Smits eating us up tonight, doing it from the inside. He's been doing it from the outside, knocking down mid-range jump shots. Rick Smits, man, kid from Marist.
Psychological inconsistencies of some of these performers. Rick Smits, just an absolute non-factor coming into today, has been the best player in the game.
Jackson blocked by Camby. Childs with the outlet to Sprewell. Camby wants the lob. Instead, it's Allan Houston. And now they'll set it up on the half court.
The Pacers defense have denied Houston and Sprewell, both of them shooting about 33% on the afternoon. Another steal by Indiana.
He lost his balance on the way in as Jackson's coming back looking for a quick strike.
Pacers, after committing 17 turnovers the first 3 quarters, taking care of the ball in this quarter.
Marcus Camby again. The guy is in on every single play in the basket area.
Well, Sprewell had to fight Antonio Davis to try to get around in front, and Van Gundy was yelling like crazy. Somebody covered the rear. He finally got over there, knocked it away, 8 on the clock.
Camby's got 4 steals and 2 blocks.
Antonio Davis, bad looking shot. Johnson with a board. Childs pushes for New York. 2 minutes left in the game.
Nice closeout defense by Antonio Davis.
Here's Allan Houston to Johnson for 3. Almost kicked in on the second try. Back tap. Sprewell.
Camby got it out there. The Knicks are going to take a timeout. Van Gundy unhappy with the shot selection.
It comes with 1:44 remaining, and the Pacers leading the Knicks 89-84. 89-84, fourth quarter, game 3, and the celebrities out in force for this Eastern Conference Finals game. Alec Baldwin, Billy Crystal is here. Spike Lee, of course, in his courtside seat. Jim Fossil, coach of the New York Football Giants. Tom Brokaw, Matthew Modine, and Peter Boyle. Big NBA fan, Penny Marshall. And the NBA Commissioner, David Stern, is here. New York Knicks trailing by 5 with 1:44 left.
What's important for the Knicks is to get a score in this possession. That means they're down 3 with plenty of time to work. Sprewell.
Terrell Sprewell rejected by Smits and out of bounds with 11 to shoot.
Rick Smits, not a noted shot blocker. That time standing tall. They forced the double clutch. They reached down low and stripped him, and when he brought that ball back down, Smits just towered over the top.
And they get a layup from Sprewell on the inbounds play.
Derek McKee ended up on his back, freeing up Sprewell.
Lead cut to 3. Here's the trap. Jackson in the backcourt calls a timeout.
And there'll be 2 seconds to go to get the ball over half court. 20-second timeout, Bird signals.
So New York works the inbounds play to perfection to get the layup, and then ratchets up the defense a notch, causing Jackson to take the timeout.
Well, remember in game 1, they were down by 5, 2:20 to go in the ball game, and they rallied, got in the ball game, and then it was free throws down the stretch, and Larry Bird is trying to make sure, A, he gets that ball across center court, and they are in an attacking mode because they're in the penalty. They could be shooting free throws.
Don't forget, we'll go out west tomorrow for further NBA playoff action. Starts with NBA Showtime, 6 o'clock Eastern here on NBC. And then the Spurs look for the sweep of the Trailblazers. NBA Showtime and Game 4 in the West starting at 6 Eastern tomorrow here on NBC. And now Indiana takes a full timeout. Larry Bird trying to make sure here in the final minute 24. Back after these messages from your local station, the NBA on NBC.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. I'm Jim Gray. 89-86, the Pacers lead. They have the ball. They will advance it to half court. Larry Bird in that timeout told his team, hey guys, if you're trapped, call timeout. We have 2 of them left. I want no turnovers.
Hey, yo, my man Ishmael, you got to chill with the Giant slander, bro. Chill with the Giant slander. We going to be all right.
All right, Jim. Indiana did advance the ball. That's what they can do after calling the full timeout. They could not have with the 20.
They've got to score, the Pacers do. The Knicks are coming on strong.
Miller had it blocked by Sprewell, and then he recovered and missed. Camby continues to rule the boards, 11 rebounds. Childs now backs it out.
There was a chance for Childs to get all the way to the rim, and he had Sprewell on the other side, and he set it back up. 12 on the clock, looking for Allan Houston against Derek McKee.
Great defense, McKee.
Johnson spinning on Antonio Davis. Up and under. Wild shot.
Shot clock
violation. Didn't hit the rim. That was not a good possession by New York.
They couldn't get the ball to Houston, though, because Derek McKee denied him. But the beautiful strip defensively by Sprewell denied Reggie. His runner almost goes down for the Pacers, but Camby there to gobble up the miss.
Reggie Miller has scored only 2 points in the second half and is 0 for 2 here in the fourth quarter. Only 2 shots. He's missed them both.
Derek McKee has been huge for the Pacers down the stretch.
Well, if they need to foul someone and get a miss, McKee's the guy and he's handling the ball. The Knicks can't let a lot of time go by. 12 on the clock.
8 to shoot. Jackson. Back to Miller. 3 to shoot. McKee. And New York, as Houston recovers, takes a timeout. Pacers first turnover in the fourth quarter, and New York had.
And I'm going to stop it right here with 20 seconds left, ladies and gentlemen, because you already know what's coming. All right, you guys already know what's happening and what's coming. And if you are a Knicks fan, your nerves were through the roof. You were sweating. Your palms were dripping with sweat. You didn't know what was going to happen. All you knew is that you needed to win this game. At the Garden. You had to get it. Nervous moment, man. The Knicks gave us a lot of nervous moments. Nervous moment, man. Let's get it back. And watch these last 20 seconds. And if you're new and you don't know what happens, let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let's get it.
Has it down 3 with 20 seconds left.
Nobody wanted to take the shot for Indiana. Jackson backed it right out, swung the ball around to Reggie. He couldn't turn the corner to get down the lane, and then Derek McKee passed up a look. Turnover. Knicks still alive.
And definitely, my man Geechee NYC said one of the greatest moments in Garden history. Without a doubt, it's one of the greatest moments in Garden history, ladies and gentlemen. And I didn't want to do it just before it happened. Right? I didn't want to get the setup just before it happened because I want you to have a moment to take it in. Right? To take it in. Let the anxiety build just a little bit. It's the reason why I didn't jump right to it. Stop right to it. So let's let this thing play out, ladies and gentlemen. Last 20 seconds of this game, we're going to let it go.
So there are a lot of things in favor of the New York Knicks going for a quick 2.
In this scenario, the defense, the Pacers, for instance, they often are very cautious, don't want to foul. If the Knicks can score right away, Clint Thomas and Chris Dudley not in the game, they both have 5 fouls. Larry Johnson has 4.
Charlie Ward back in the ball game along with Childs, Camby, Sprewell, and Houston.
Ward replaces Johnson, so the 2 point guards are on the court at the same time, Ward and Childs.
Larry Johnson is too good a scorer to take out here.
Sprewell takes the inbounds pass against Derek McKee. Still on the move. Dishes to Camby. Blocked, but a foul.
Mishandled that. That was a jam setup if you've ever seen one, and he couldn't, and he's had a great afternoon. Handle that one to finish the play. Sprewell is thinking pass the entire way down the lane. He finally breaks down the defense, and Dale Davis, Antonio Davis both come to the ball.
Beautiful pass, but you have to remember that Camby nor Latrell Sprewell have ever been involved in a playoff run before. And not aware of how much you have to keep playing. This is Camby's first try at the playoffs. Sprewell never won a playoff game in 3 attempts at Golden State.
Camby sinks the free throw. He's 2 of 4 at the line in the game. That was his 20th point, but his first in this fourth quarter. Now Chris Dudley replaces Charlie Ward.
And Jalen Rode comes back in the ball game. Derek McKee goes down.
The margin is 2 with 13.8 seconds left.
Terry Durham stepping in to make sure that all players are outside the three-point arc before they come charging in up Camby's backside on an attempted miss here. I think you try to make this one.
And he does.
Then foul.
It's a 1-point game. Indiana timeout. 13.8 seconds on the clock. Indiana's lead is 1. They'll have the ball when we return to the Garden, the NBA on NBC. 89-88, and this is hugely Miller time. Reggie Miller has killed the Knicks in the final seconds of many games, but not in game 1 of this series. New York's tight defensive play didn't allow Reggie to get open, and it wound up coming to Mark Jackson, who took the 3 to try to tie the game. It missed. New York came away with a victory. Then in game 2, score tied. Reggie did get the ball and managed to draw the foul from Chris Childs. Miller hit both free throws to give Indiana the margin of victory in a 2-point win that tied the series.
That was a game-winning foul. Oh, my goodness. Reggie Miller, top playoff scoring games at Madison Square Garden. Won a lot of those games.
But today, he hasn't scored a field goal in 19 minutes.
Reggie's the best free throw shooter in the league. The Pacers have had trouble in the early rounds of the series getting the ball to Reggie. Other teams have double-teamed Reggie, denying him possession.
Well, they're going to make sure that Derek McKee does not get to be the guy handling the ball. He's going to inbound the basketball. Now, a lot of times McKee makes mistakes in inbounding the ball. They got to pressure up on everyone.
It's McKee, Rose, Miller, Smits, and Jackson for Indiana.
If you can't foul McKee, Jackson's the one that missed the big free throw in game 1. Gave the Knicks an opportunity.
Smits wants to run out on the long pass. Instead, it's Jackson wide open. Sprewell grabs him with 11.6 seconds. It'll be Mark Jackson, the New York native, who goes to the free throw line. And a poignant moment earlier in this season when Jackson's dad, Harry, died. The Knicks had played in Indianapolis, and Jeff Van Gundy went to Mark Jackson and said, "Come back with us on the team plane." And he said, Mark did, "No, that wouldn't be right." And Jeff Van Gundy said, "Yes, it's absolutely the right thing to do. We care about you." And he rode back with the Knicks charter plane to his dad's funeral. Now at the free throw line, Mark Jackson, who has hit his only 2 attempts, now 3 for 3.
Antonio Davis in, Smits out, Larry Johnson back in the game, Charlie Ward down. Dale Davis is going to get back in the ball game. Jalen Rose will go down. Jackson has been in this position before when he does that thing where he lines his arm up. A lot of times he comes up short, and that's what the crowd is hoping for here. 2-point lead, Indiana.
Knicks still have a timeout. The biggest thing here is possession if the free throw is missed. Got a lot of time to set a play.
Indiana 5 for 5 at the free throw line, fourth quarter. And now 6 for 6. The lead is 3. New York takes a timeout. 11.9 seconds showing on the clock. Knicks try to pull out a tie when we return to Madison Square Garden to a 3-point game.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 3-point game. 91-88. No way you want to go down 2-1 going into a game 3 at home. Just don't want to do it against the Pacers. Needed a miracle.
Time to take the quick first available score.
I think they have to take the first available score. Again, with 11 seconds to go, almost 12 seconds, you got a ton of time left. You got to get a quick score and then try to come back and make a steal. And if you don't get this steal foul, you're hoping that somebody's going to give you that miss. If you miss this 3,
you're cooked.
Interesting, but wrong. They're out of timeouts. They got to shoot the three-pointer right now. They don't have any time left. He's going to take them a bunch of seconds off the clock to get the ball into shooting range. They got to get that three-pointer to go down. Now, if they miss any shot, the game is over.
Why am I surprised you guys disagree? And I'm just shocked at that. 91-88, 11.9. Knicks have advanced the ball to midcourt. Charlie Ward will trigger the ball inbounds. It's Ward, Childs, Sprewell, Houston, and Larry Johnson back in.
And I'm sure Larry Bird has told his guys, you know, we got a couple choices here. We can foul for possession or don't foul on a three.
If it gets late, the Pacers can foul to put them on the line.
Ward had it tipped. Johnson made a good catch. Johnson is fouled and hit!
Amazing. Yeah, Reggie, that's right. That's an amazing moment. Amazing moments. Unbelievable stuff, bro.
Shots today.
But now he's got to make one, and when they rushed him, he said, leave me alone. I got to make a free throw here. The game's a long way from being over.
Got it. New York by one. Timeout, Indiana. Three incredible three-point shots by Larry Johnson in this game.
The worst possible scenario for Larry Bird and the Indiana Pacers, who has lost in this building. Bird has too many times on long three-point shots at the end of the game. Larry Johnson, the pump fake. Phantom foul called there, running away from the...
Man, get out of here with that phantom foul call stuff. Get out of here. That was beautiful. I don't want to hear that. Whoop. Oh. Squoop. That's what I'm talking about. See you one more time. Squoop. Squoop. I said I did it too early.
That's not a foul either.
Now remember, to end the first quarter, shot clock, game clock running out. Larry Johnson hit a three from way deep.
And Patrick Ewing, whose life is just taking a terrible turn here with that foot problem.
I am AO Digital. That's right. Anything for us to feel good. You right about that, my brother. Anything to feel good. No doubt about it. Who do you like? Who is your favorite team, Digital?
Well, there's 5.7 seconds. That's a ton of time for the Indiana Pacers. They missed with 6 seconds in Indiana. Mark Jackson taking the three. All they need here is a two. So they're not in the same desperate straits. And for the New York Knicks, they have no fouls to give. They got to play straight up defense. So they cannot afford to put the good free throw shooting Indiana Pacers on the line.
Steve, I told you they needed to take a three-point shot and get fouled, too.
Johnson hit the three at the buzzer to end the first quarter, banked in a three early in the fourth quarter, and now this four-point play with 5 seconds left has given New York a 1-point lead.
Has there ever been a greater four-point play?
No.
More significance in the history of the NBA.
So it's McKee, Smits, Jackson, Miller, and Rose for Indiana. 5.7 seconds left. Can Reggie Miller pull out another one at the Garden? Here's Mark Jackson. Jackson triple team, tied up, got a shot up, no good. New York wins.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't get no better than that, ladies and gentlemen. Don't get no better than that.
Well, Indiana
New York
never really
Knicks
got a good look at it.
pulled off an amazing victory. And even that last shot, folks, even that last shot, you were afraid that it was going down. And it was online from Mark Jackson. Didn't go down, but man, was it online. And man, did it look like and feel like it could go down. You know, of course, you know, that kind of stuff happens against the Knicks. You know, people make shots and do all kinds of wild stuff. You know, before we get out of here, let's hear from the star of the show, Larry Johnson. And then I'm going to go ahead and get out of here and get over to the front stoop after I say what's up to Freezy.
With an amazing shot, and he is with Jim Gray.
All right, thank you very much, Tom. Larry, tell us about that 4-point play. And was that what was called in the huddle?
No, it was not. First of all, I'd like to say all praises due to Allah. It was not called in the huddle. It was supposed to be a drive by Allan, but he couldn't get it. So once I got it, you know, I just tried to square up, and I got a good look at it, and I shot it, and it went in. Allahu Akbar.
That was a prayer. Were you surprised you were fouled?
Yes, I was. You know, you're down 3. There shouldn't have been no foul. But like I said, all praises due to Allah for that shot.
We're watching it right now. You hit 3 very unlikely three-pointers today. You made 8 shots in a row. What goes through one when one finds the zone like that? It seemed like everything you threw up went in.
You know what? I wouldn't even call it a zone. I was trying to stay focused. You know, a lot of guys got to step up since Patrick is out. And that's, you know, that was my main focus, trying to step up since Patrick is out.
What did Patrick say to you? He gave you a big hug.
You know, Pat, before when he found out his injury, we had a meeting with him the day of practice, and he told us, you know, he's still with us, and, you know, for that guy to be around as long as he's been around, and he's been hurt throughout this whole playoff, and he's give us 110%, we got to give it right back to him.
Were you guys teetering your confidence coming into this game without Patrick?
No, I think that, like I said, guys understand they got to step up. Myself, Marcus, Kurt Thomas, Big Chris Dudley, guys got to step up, and I think that's what guys are trying to do, step up.
Larry, congratulations. There's never been a bigger 4-point play.
Thank you very much. Allahu Akbar.
All right, back
And
over to you,
ladies
Tom.
and gentlemen, you heard from Larry Johnson, classic moment for the New York Knicks. And Big Freezy, coming to you real quick, man, so we can wrap this up because I got to get to the front stoop. What's going on, bro?
Right. Hey, so I got 3 quick things, man. So for Larry Johnson to hit that 3 was huge because for basketball fans, they remember him at UNLV, missed that 3-pointer against Duke.
Right.
People said he choked. And secondly, for any team to need a basket against the greatest defensive team ever with 6 seconds left, just show you how great that Knicks defense was back then.
Yeah.
Bruh. And third, man, the crowd was on pins and needles during that last 20 seconds. I'm talking about everybody looking at the court. This is not Miami. It ain't LA where people be ordering beers and signing autographs and shit, all kinds of stuff. Knicks fans who love basketball was focused that last 20 seconds, and we won one for them, man.
Yeah, man. Crazy moment. It was a crazy moment, man. But you gotta love those moments, man. You gotta love them. But hey, Freezy, stay in. I'm heading over to the front stoop. If you want to go join the front stoop, go get into the front stoop chat. All right, heading over to the front stoop so we can go review this album. Ladies and gentlemen,
all right.
Thank you for being here with me. All right, hopefully you enjoyed the game. Now I'm heading over to the front stoop so we can break down this Sky Zoo album. And I just put in the chat link to the front stoop so you guys can join us. All right? Listen, if you're new to this channel, subscribe. Even if you're not a Knicks fan, subscribe to the channel anyway. You have a chance to enjoy it all. All right? And if you're new to the front stoop, well, you haven't been to the front stoop yet. Come join us on the front stoop. We're going to break down the Sky Zoo album. I heard it. It's a pretty dope album, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, I'm up out of here. Okay? I will talk to you guys soon. Be peaceful. Have a great weekend. I'm out.